Main gates of the sanctuary.
The food is not allowed inside the area, only water. Keep it inside.
Of Athena Nike. On the other side, this room is the refectory of the sacred meals after the sacrifices. Now, in front of you, you see the Straits of Salamis between the residential area and the island of Salamis, where Xerxes lost his navy. There, at the top of the rock with the people, is Mars Hill. And on the right, the flat area in front of that ancient temple is the Agora of Athens, for which we will speak more when we will be there. Okay, now we continue inside sacred area here. After this gate, we enter in all the ancient temples, including the Temple of Solomon. We are surrounded by a yard. Remember the courts of the Gentiles? Yeah. We are going to enter in the sacred yard. Okay. So we continue. So, our group here, please. Yeah. We have accomplished the most difficult part. When Athenians came back after the Persian distraction, and they decided to rebuild the Acropolis, they opened two very big pits at the summit, and they collected all the broken votives and the statues and the sculptured decoration of the temples and all what was destroyed by the Persian army, and they buried them. And after they cleared the summit from all what was destroyed, they brought from the mount behind that temple, 25 kilometers from here, more than 20,000 tons of marble in blocks which weighed between 4 and 14 tons each, the average. And in 9 years, using as main tools the hammer and the chisel, built from scratch this temple there. 9 years only took to them to make it from scratch. Now, this temple is called Parthenon. Parthenon means the house of the Virgin.
House of the what?
Virgin.
Virgin.
Yeah. Unlikely with Corinth, the Athenian lady was the lady of wisdom, and she was a never virgin. So, this temple was called the House of the Virgin Lady of Wisdom, Parthenon. Athenians like to make her residence not only mathematically perfect, but also aesthetically. Now, these two realities cannot match to each other due to the human eye illusion. And for the first time in the history of mathematics, the human eye illusion became a mathematical parameter and was studied. And they tried to make optical corrections, and they achieved it. The human eye illusion is expressed mainly in two fields. The first has to do with a straight line. The geometrically made straight line from a distance is always seen as a curve at the top. So they studied the angle of the vertical with the illusion. You understand that? Yeah. And when they made the real columns, they made the top of the real columns curving on the other side with the same angle with the vertical. So when the eye makes its own correction, the restitution of reality, to see the lines perfectly straight. So we see the lines of this building perfectly straight because they are purposely, mathematically, are made not straight. The second field in which the human eye illusion is expressed is the relation between the light and the shade. An object in the light seems to be smaller and thinner. The same object in the shade seems to be bigger and thicker. So we see the columns and we have the impression that they are identical to each other. But if they were identical to each other, because each one of them has a certain unique location which receives a unique amount of light and forms a unique shade behind, we should see them different. So they studied the place of each one column, obviously by using a wooden model, for a year. They made averages and they made all these columns unique according to the place each one of them was erected, fulfilling the relation light and shade. So the corner columns were built thicker because they receive the most of the light and the light makes them to look thinner. And gradually, as we enter in the area of the shade, they get thinner because the shade makes them to look thicker. And also the distance in between the columns changes. The building is not built vertically on the rock because to create the impression we have today when we approach to our skyscrapers. It's going to fall upon us. Something which creates negative feelings of fear. To avoid such feelings, the ancient architects gave to this building a slight inclination inwards, but very slight. So only on a height of 5 kilometers above the building, the opposite columns should meet each other and the building should take the shape of a prism. All the building as a unity, and each one block individually obeys to the golden ratio formula. Are you familiar with the golden ratio?
No.
Are you familiar with the Fibonacci sequence? Sorry, you are Christians, you should be. So go back.
It's our American education that failed us.
So when you will be back in the bus or when you will be able to do it, Google Fibonacci sequence. And you will see some incredible things. Who is Fibonacci? Fibonacci is an Italian mathematician of 12th century who collected all these ancient approaches to nature through mathematics. And you will see mathematics in nature. You will see the flowers, the plants, the animals, the humans having certain mathematical proportions. Something which itself is a proof about the existence of a great mathematical, artistic mind behind nature. So, when you will Google Fibonacci sequence, you will see flowers, you will see plants, and you will see this temple. It's the only human-made artifact which is included in that collection. You will see when you will Google Fibonacci sequence. To make the long story short, this building you see there is composed of 16,500 unique blocks that they don't fit in another part of the building. It is literally a three-dimensional puzzle on which each one part has its own unique place.
Get chills.
Very symbolic. This is how the Church of Christ works. Now, we are going to continue up there, and we are going to check the curves of this building, because there is not straight line on this building. It's made all of curves. We are going to check the curves of this building by our bare eye. Now, as we go closer, and still we have the panoramic view, we see only perfect straight lines. But since we lose the panoramic view and we are focused to the detail, then we start seeing the curves. There is not real geometrical straight line. It is a matching of geometry with aesthetics. Is there any question up to this point? Let's go to check. To describe things to you that I see, and for you to see the same thing means to be closer to me and to make yourself about to my height. Yes, I'm short, sorry. So, yeah, please come closer. I would like you to see carefully the three steps on which the whole building stands. And for my height, the best is the middle one. I would like you to see with the eye of an engineer the step which comes to the level of your eyes.
Okay.
Look at that. Is straight or is not straight?
Curved. Curved.
Yes. Is somebody that has not seen that curve? There is not a straight line here. Look the horizontal lines, look the steps, look the middle step. Yeah. In the middle.
Oh yeah.
The sky. Now, if you take one side and go from column to column, you will see that as you go further, the columns become straight. You see that? Look, the last one.
Yeah.
Seems to be perfectly straight. Now, if you go behind this column here, which is closer to us, and to see them one behind the other, you will see that they line perfectly behind each other. And it's not that these are cars and these are not. They are all the same cars, but this is studied to be seen from that distance perfectly straight. I feel like a Hollywood actor.
Take two.
So,
And action.
the temple you see there, although smaller than Parthenon and less famous, is called Erechtheion, was considered to be the most holy spot of the entire summit, of the entire sanctuary. First of all, because it's built upon the place where used to be the palace sanctuary of the king priest of Athens. And second, because this place was pointed as the place of a divine contest. According to the myth, two were the gods who were eager to become patron gods of the city. The god of the sea, Poseidon, and the goddess of wisdom, Athena. So they were invited here, both, and they had a contest. The Lady Wisdom was clever and beat the god of the sea, and she became the patron goddess of this place. But Athenians needed the blessing of both, because they were also sea people. For that reason, they made this temple combined. There was a wall in the middle dividing the temple in two parts. The western part facing the sea and offered to Poseidon, and the eastern part facing the city offered to Athena, the goddess of wisdom, as the protectress of the city during the time of peace. Now, attached to the temple, you see a small porch where, instead of columns, we have statues of 5th century BC, classical statues, holding the roof, the Athenian caryats. This place was pointed as the burial place of the king priests. Remember, the royal priesthood in the Greek concept is very strong. Something which is totally missing in the Hebrew culture, because we don't have it. The king couldn't be priest and the priest couldn't be king in Israel. Here, the royal priesthood is the only style of monarchy the Greeks had. And remember, this is promised also to the believer. We are going to be king priests. The time is 11:06. What about 11:30? About 25 minutes free time. Okay? So I'll be here and coming around here, approaching details of these buildings. Yeah, taking photos. It's going to be an opportunity for you during that free time.
Hey, just before you go on the kingdom of priests from 1 Peter, could you just talk to us about the living stone? He said we're like living stones being built into a spiritual house. You can talk about that more, or just?
Yes. There is a reconstruction here, as you see. The destruction you see is because this place was bombarded. And the bombardment 300 years ago caused in Parthenon inner explosions. And everywhere you see white marble, we had a collapse. And you see this column, the first reconstructed with white marble column. Look, these old fragments implanted. You see them? Now, what that means? That means that from the whole ancient drum, the only survived part are these fragments. Now, these fragments were always there. They don't fit in another part of the drum or the column or to another column. Each part of this building each block is unique. And the workers who work on them had to execute a special schedule for each one block, which was different from the other blocks. They didn't copy things. And so, totally different blocks to each other, composed together, gave this miracle. This is, in a sense, the Church of Christ. We are all different to each other, unique, but all together we make the body of Christ. Stephen?
Yeah. Amen.
Yes. Okay. So enjoy the free time. Yeah. I'll be here.
Just remember, be wise, call the carpet guys.
Yes.
If you watch this video, that's my commercial.
He's an old building.